In our last episode, we made it to the remote, rugged, and wild Puerto Refugio and got blasted by Mexico's summertime heat. This time around, we have one final overnight passage to the farthest reaches of the northern Sea of Cortez to haul out our boat and store it for the remainder of hurricane season. After spending just over a week tucked up in this little hidey hole at Puerto Refugio, fishing, snorkeling, and exploring to our heart's content, it was finally time to bring this season to an end. Well, we made it to Puerto Refugio on the northern tip of Isla Angel de la Guarda. Translated, this is Port of Refuge on Guardian Angel Island. So this place is, I think, kind of what a lot of cruisers dream of. It's remote and rugged. There's nobody around except for us. But we're getting out of here. It's the end of the season. We're going to Puerto Penasco and gonna haul out the boat. So Brenda's right now making us some passage treats, which I'm pretty excited about. Once those are done, pulling up the anchor and getting out of here. We should get to Puerto Penasco sometime midday tomorrow, and then we'll have a couple of days of getting the boat prepared to haul out. And that'll be that. Back to the States, and we'll figure out what to do for the rest of hurricane season. See you later. With this being the final overnight passage of the season, that of course called for some special treats. Brenda's world-famous lemon bars. And once these things were out of the oven, we were out of there. With a forecast pointing us towards some nice, comfortable sailing, Puerto Refugio was in our rear-view mirror. And right there with us, there was my old friend Ken, because there was no way he was going to pass up the chance at one final drag race of the season. We're off! We got some pretty good passage food, some pretty great passage treats, a pretty nice view behind us, and some great sailing at the moment. Not a lot of breeze, we're only doing about 4 knots, but it is super comfy out. I'd take comfy over speed almost all the time, but the bad news, Ken actually does a little better in these conditions than us. We're a heavy boat. He's actually going for the pass. It's probably gonna happen, I don't know, in the next few minutes. Not too happy about that. In the almost 3 months we've been cruising together, he hasn't passed us yet. Today's gonna be the day though, I can already tell. Unless we get a few more knots of breeze. A few more knots of breeze and we'll be able to at least keep up. Not right now. Nice job, Ken. Proud of you. And with Ken gaining on us quickly, even Brenda was starting to look depressed. I know, it's depressing. And not only did Ken pass us, he had to rub it in by pulling way out in front. But even though we were getting left way back in the dust, at least the final sail of our cruising season was really nice and comfortable. Well, that's the first time I've seen the stern of Ken's boat. And I have to say, I kind of prefer the view of the bow. It's a good looking boat, but I like it behind me. Nice job, Ken. Even with our racing stripe giving it her all, a depressing defeat was bringing my spirits down fast. But at least I could drown my sorrows with some freshly baked lemon bars. 'Cause these things, they were pretty amazing. That's good.
It's tart.
I'm really tart. With that big old race, it wasn't over just quite yet. Because with a little shift in the breeze, our chutes went up, and good old Ken was back in our sights. But unfortunately, just as we were getting close and going in for the pass, that's when it happened. That nice comfortable breeze that was supposed to take us all the way to Puerto Peñasco, it completely died. So not only did we not get the satisfaction of passing good old Ken under sail, we would also be in for a long night of motoring. Well, I'm sure it's happened before, but I can't ever recall seeing the sea this calm. It is glassy. It's gonna be a long night of motoring. So much for the wind. Gorgeous out though. There are times when a sunset at sea is made of pure magic. And I gotta say, for the final one of our cruising season, it surely did not disappoint. As great as the sunset was, well, the sunrise, it wasn't too shabby either. And shortly after that sun came up, we made it to Puerto Peñasco, just in time for this. Well, we made it to Puerto Peñasco. And this is the first bit of rain we've seen in 7 months. 7 months! It's kind of nice. But now it's time to get to work. We're gonna get this boat hauled out and set on the hard for hurricane season. And get out of the heat, because it is blazing hot and super muggy here. But it was a pretty easy trip. Flat calm the whole night. A lot of motoring, but as calm as could be. Time to get to work. So for the next 24 hours, we bobbed around outside of Puerto Peñasco and started getting this boat ready to haul out. And the next day, it was off to the fuel dock to top up our diesel tanks for long-term storage. And because of the nearly 20-foot spring tides in Puerto Peñasco, that fuel dock, it's kind of a long reach. And after our mighty ship was topped up, it was a scramble trying to find ourselves a slip to take care of some more work. Well, we've got ourselves a slip here in Puerto Peñasco, which is actually surprisingly difficult to do. This port is more geared towards, well, it's an industrial port that's geared towards shrimping boats, and for recreational stuff, it's more sport fishing. So there's not a whole lot of slips available for cruising sailboats. It was surprisingly difficult to get a slip, but we've got one, and now we've got 3 days to get this boat ready to haul out, as well as take care of a bunch of little projects we want to get done before it sits on the hard, which means we have a whole lot of stuff to do in a short amount of time. And today it's 98 degrees with 80% humidity, so we're hot, sweaty, and grouchy, and scrambling to get stuff done. So because of all that, I'm not actually going to film us scrambling around, sweaty and grouchy. What I'm going to do is put a list down below of all the stuff we're doing to get this boat ready for haul out and somewhat long-term storage, because every time we do that I get asked a lot of questions about it. So for the rest of this video, what I'm going to do is try to more focus on this place as a haul out and storage place for hurricane season, because I know that's what I'm going to get asked the most questions about. So for now, we're going to get to work. We're going to get sweaty and grouchy and take care of this boat as much as we can. And we'll show you the yard and the haul out facilities and talk a little bit more about that. See you later. Even though Puerto Peñasco, or Rocky Point as it's known to most Americans, is a tourist hotspot for those looking for some sun, sandy beaches, and warm weather, the inner harbor here is really geared towards the commercial fisherman, with most of the available dock space in the inner harbor taken up by the multitude of shrimping boats, and what's left being used by sport fishermen and the nightly dinner cruises. Dock space for the average cruising sailboat is somewhat hard to come by. And a quick walk around this place will not only remind you that this is one of the few safe harbors in the Northern Sea, but it's also a place where a whole lot of work gets done. Everything from refurbishing and maintaining the old fleet to building completely new vessels. It all happens right in this little harbor. And because of Puerto Peñasco's location, which is considered to be out of the reach of hurricanes, and the fact that this place can haul out just about any size cruising vessel and complete just about any task that's needed, it's quickly becoming a destination for cruisers who need to haul their boat, take care of a little work, and escape Mexico's summer heat and hurricanes. In the very northern part of the inner harbor, there's the Astilleros Cabrales boatyard, which has a travel lift that's sized for the shrimping fleet. And because of the size of that travel lift, it was the easiest haul-out experience we've had to date. No backing in, no removing head stays or back stays or solar panels or any odds and ends. We just pulled right in and out the boat came. And I know there's going to be a whole lot of questions regarding pricing, availability of work, quality of work, security, and on and on and on. But since we haven't had any work actually done on the boat just yet, all I can tell you is that the haul-out pricing and the long-term storage is comparable to other places we've been in Mexico, and quite a bit less than you would expect to pay in the United States. But for those of you who have more specific questions about possibly hauling out your boat here or having some work done, there will be a link down below in the video description for the Astilleros Cabrales boatyard. Since the travel lift is so huge and there's gaining popularity with cruising sailboats up in the Northern Sea, to pack us cruisers into their long-term secured storage yard, they've got a pretty ingenious solution. this little hydraulic remote controlled dolly, it'll get us in there good and snug and leave a bit more room for the next guy. But beyond the haul out, the long-term secured storage yard, and the full-service facilities, do-it-yourself work is no problem here either. And they've even got a cruiser's lounge with Wi-Fi, showers, and even air conditioning when you need a break from the heat. There it is. We're getting out of here, beating the heat. Good experience. And there's our boat. Adios. Well, before we wrap up this sailing season, I want to take a quick minute to say a few things about the boat, the haul out yard, the season in general, and our upcoming plans. But first of all, thanks for watching. I'm still always amazed that people watch this nonsense. So thanks, it actually means a lot to us. The haul out yard in Puerto Penasco, I know a lot of you are going to ask questions about pricing and our experience and work that can be done there. Our experience, I can tell you, was great. It was easy. Haul out yard was simple. Really, no complaints. It was good. But the difficulty we had in Puerto Penasco as a whole was there really isn't a lot of marina space. So if you're going up there and want to do some work at a marina to prep it before hauling out, there's just not a lot of marina space for the average cruising sailboat. It's really geared for trailable sport fishing boats and the shrimping industry. So we actually anchored outside the harbor in the main bay for a night to do some of the work on the boat before we went in to get hauled. But really not a lot of access in marinas. But beyond that, it was great. Piece of cake. As far as work being done in the yard, we're told it's a full service yard. They can do just about anything, but we have no first-hand experience on work being done. So when we come back to the boat next season, we can maybe touch on that when we have some first-hand knowledge of work being done in the yard. Which I guess brings us to the plans coming up. Really, we don't have plans. That's kind of how we roll. But I can tell you the next season, we've got a lot of work to do on the boat. It was a great season for us as far as cruising and traveling goes, but the boat gave us a lot of grief. So we've owned our boat now for about 12 years. We've put about 35,000 miles on it. And most of the work we did when we originally bought the boat to get it ready for cruising took place 10 to 12 years ago. And everything on a boat has a lifespan. And unfortunately, a lot of the stuff we did 10 to 12 years ago, it's pretty worn out. And our boat looks, well, pretty rugged. It's been used hard. So we'd really like to take care of a bunch of work on the boat before we head out to more remote, distant places. We just want it to work like it should. So at the beginning of next season, we're going back to Puerto Penasco to take care of a bunch of stuff. I guess that sort of gets to the point of why we left the border of southern Mexico and Guatemala and sailed all the way back up to the farthest reaches of the northern Sea of Cortez to store our boat for hurricane season. It's because it has easy access to the United States, and that's the easiest place for us to get parts and supplies. In Puerto Penasco, it's pretty easy for us to just drive parts across the border and take care of what we need to do. It's surprisingly difficult to get things in various parts of the world. The US is just easy. So I guess that kind of brings us to what our plans are for next season. It's really boat work at the beginning. Once we get the boat back to somewhat ship shape, we'll see how much time is left in the season and then figure out where we can go from there. That may mean we're, I don't want to say stuck in Mexico for another season, but it may be that we're stuck in Mexico for another season. It's not a bad place to be stuck. We like it there. But yeah, it just depends on how much work we get done on the boat and how fast it happens. So that's next season. For now, we have no idea what we're doing. We're back in the States. We're going to visit some family and friends and then sort of figure out what to do from there. We'll keep you posted. But the last thing I want to say is that this was our best year of cruising to date. We've been doing this for about 5.5 years, And I don't know why it was the best. I don't know if it's because we found a rhythm and finally figured out what we're doing. But even with all the little troubles we had with the boat, it was really great. That's all I can say. Incredible. Mexico's great. We love it down there. We are ready to move on, but it's still an incredible place to go cruising. Thanks for watching. We'll talk to you later. We'll fill you in when we know what we're doing. See ya.